The Walt Disney Company has been around since the early 1920s and has influenced people's lives and views around the globe. However, Disney has been shown to have many problems throughout the company, both foreign and domestic. Sarah Wild, an author for Forbes, discusses the net worth of the Walt Disney Company in 2014, stated that Disney owned $142.92 billion in media and the entertainment industry. With such power, Disney, with being as large as it is, was bound to use that in a way that many wouldn't expect behind the scenes.
Our group has studied the research the negative effects of the Walt Disney Company around the world. We have found that the company is heading toward a monopoly in controlling the entertainment industry and cultures within them. Their portrayal of women in media leads to children being taught specific values, which are unnecessary and sexist in our culture. Many Disney products are made in foreign sweatshops where workers were mistreated and are underpaid. And finally, Disney has an economic stronghold that they use to expand and develop, effectively trumping all competition.
The Walt Disney Company is heading toward owning a majority of the entertainment industry, whether it's through the movies made directly by the company or movies made by many other companies that Disney owns. Disney is dominating the media. According to a recent study by The Numbers, Disney currently owns a total of 27% of the entire entertainment industry. While that is a staggering number already, a business deal is in the works for Disney to acquire 20th Century Fox. This would boost the amount of ownership that Disney has over entertainment enormously. While anyone loyal to some of the franchises that Fox owns, such as Alien, Avatar, and Family Guy, it is also important to consider the new levels of influence that Disney would have. According to Fox, Family Guy debuted with a total of 22 million viewers, and that number only continued to grow as the seasons wore on. Disney is making it extremely difficult for smaller companies to have their say in the entertainment industry. In addition to this, it has been shown throughout Disney films that there is a clear bias. In the movie Frozen, the two main sisters that the movie is based around were heavily marketed and have remained popular since the release of the film in 2013. While both characters are the two most marketed from the film, it is shocking to find that they have less than half of the lines in the entire movie, and their male counterparts that serve as comedic relief have more lines. Whether it's demeaning women, showing racist stereotypes in characters, or having the main female protagonist have less lines than their male counterparts, Disney is attempting to control the majority of the entertainment industry, meaning that they can successfully imply their stereotypes.
This is a picture of the ordinary Disney princess that became the founders of the main Disney cinematic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. On the contrary, Merida is the character that Disney created to step out of their definition of normality for Disney princesses. In these two pictures, you may find some very distinct differences, such as the royal look that Snow White contains and the raggedy green dress that Merida is wearing. Although it was a big step in the ethically correct direction, in the sense that they were trying to show kids that not all women have to be perceived with that perfect Snow White complexion, the film didn't go very many places, and still sees to prove that Disney lacked the nerve to implement more movies of same parallelism. Despite the huge opportunity that they had with the film Brave, they made the wrong move when portraying her in merchandise.
Three fingers.
Specifically dolls and other sort of physical play toys. In this, they completely changed the look of her, making her dress more fancy with gold accents and no bow as seen in the movie. With that said, the movie Mulan was also a disgrace for Disney. In the book, From Perfect Daughter to Feminist, How Culture Disguises Disney's Recycled Formula of Mulan and Moana, produced by the author Arcelia Arcadia, the script of the film is very defined. It gives lyrics distinct to "You'll bring honor to us all," end quote. Men want girls with good taste, calm, obedient, who work with fast pace, with good breeding and a tiny waist. You'll bring honor to us all. In a succession of one after another, these lines are presented by the chorus, and slowly, the movie where a princess is forced to dress as a man to get any credit comes crumbling down.
For what is considered one of the happiest companies on earth, the conditions they treat their sweatshop workers in foreign countries is quite the contradictory. According to Philip Matera, clothing countries in Haiti producing pajamas under a license with Disney had workers that were being paid as little as 12 cents per hour. In Bangladesh, workers work up to 15 hours a day and are being paid up to 8 to 19 cents per hour. Workshops are also plagued with sexual harassment, excessive and unpaid overtime, and unmet safety standards that do not provide a safe environment for workers. This includes handling dangerous chemicals without proper protection, eating food riddled with cockroaches, and being terribly punished for failing to meet target demands. This alone is highly unethical for any type of worker, but especially so for children, who work in abundance in these developing countries. Children around the ages of 10 and 16 are being hired in these factories, says the Independent who researched into this matter. Chinese Labor Watch also held an investigation in Guangdong, China, where they not only confirmed many of the violations stated before, but also revealed the death of a 17-year-old boy who was crushed by machinery. Other workers had developed skin rashes and even had layers of skin, quote, falling out. The fact that workers in foreign countries are being exploited and working in unacceptable conditions where their life is at high risk is unacceptable and violates many ethical and human rights laws.
A seemingly hidden or maybe ignored part of Disney is its large influence on public economies that they can use to develop and expand. A very encompassing and defining example of such influence comes from the events of Haymarket, Virginia, a small town of 483 individuals. As writer John Sterling explains, tempted by Disney's promise, the Virginia legislature had committed $132 million to subsidize highway improvements that would principally benefit the project, not local citizens. This promise was the creation of Disney's America, an amusement park that was set to receive an annual 11 million visitors, as well as create 12,400 new jobs. Described by Sterling, the state would spend another $31 million to finance a joint Disney-Virginia advertising campaign, build a state visitor center on the park site, and fund a community college program to train residents in the tourism industry. While this may have seemed promising, Disney later abandoned the park after all this money was spent by the Virginian government, an event so devastating that Haymarket's town hall flew its flag at half-mast the day after. Mayor Jack R. Kapp described the cancellation like a funeral. Due to the economic prowess Disney had with the success of its other park in California, Virginia was correct in its eagerness to provide the necessary funds and confirmations for the park's accommodations. However, this eagerness hurt the state's economy with a loss of around $47 million per year, which led Virginia to recover for a short while.
With the problems presented, our group has come up with 3 solutions, each solving the problems shown. Intervention to prevent Disney's monopoly on entertainment, creating more movies giving more females a protagonist role and advertising women as a more dominant figure in the film industry, and finally, provide sweatshop workers with adequate safety and health regulations, as well as appropriate pay.
First, there needs to be governmental intervention to prevent Disney from having a monopoly on entertainment. While it isn't as extensive of a monopoly that companies had in the early years of the steel industry, it still calls for intervention as it is a clear misuse of power over entertainment. Disney is moving into owning a large part of the media and has virtually no competition.
Our second solution involves going back to the ideas that Disney once had with the movie Brave, and not only give women the main role in films, but also providing equal representation of them in media and allowing for a better atmosphere around the female gender. Creating more movies that give women a better positioning with Disney will ultimately provide a healthier future for the equality amongst children and the view of Disney, just like we all once were.
Our third solution involves the current treatment of sweatshop workers in foreign countries and how we can not only make their work environment safer, but also provide adequate wages and work hours for their employees. Employees should receive at least the minimum wage of 14 to 17 yuan per hour, which is roughly $2 American. The work hours must also become more regulated. 15-hour work days that also involve non-paid overtime do not provide workers with adequate resting periods or the pay to compensate for it. Workers should also be provided training for handling machinery, chemicals, and other equipment to ensure that accidents are minimized. The food provided to workers should also undergo more strict regulation to ensure future health problems will not occur for workers. If these changes are made, safety, health, and quality of life will be ensured for all workers, and this cruelty can come to an end.
Out of our 3 solutions, we as a group decided to further expand on our first, as finding a way to stop Disney's monopolistic ways will most likely solve the other issues that are present. Throughout this presentation, we have classified what Disney has done as culturally insensitive, sexist, unethical, and unjust in its business practices. However, more evidence suggests a matter of illegal activity surrounding Disney's plans to create a superhighway leading to the Disney's America amusement park. This highway plan would have exceeded the limit of possible pollution set by a pre-existing federal act, but was pre-approved by the Virginian government anyway.
With eliminating Disney and their monopolistic ways, it will ultimately lead to a better representation of women in media. With the mass amount of media influence that Disney has developed with the use of monopoly, stopping it will hinder their already massive film industry from getting too powerful and misrepresenting women, causing them to gradually lose the amount of influence they have over children. Although women are portrayed with a better light now, there's still much more work to be done.
Sweatshops will also benefit from this monopoly. Disney has become such a large company that it is essential to have divisions in the company that focus its resources on many parts throughout its company, including the treatment of sweatshop workers. However, a majority of sweatshops are in foreign countries which may be out of Disney's control, such as the strict government of China.
With this solution provided, we hope that Disney will become a company that can be trusted, as they truly are one of the biggest parts of our lives.
Shannon, describe how the content of the team presentation was changed as a result of group discussion.
I feel like the most change that happened between the four of us happened between James, Logan, and Rayaan due to their, since their lenses were cultural and social, feministic, and ethical, they all sort of linked together, and as they found more information within their resources, they could relay that to other teammates and see if they already have that or they need to improve on it.
James, what is an example of a compelling argument from a peer's individual report that you decided to exclude from your team presentation, and why?
One of the arguments was brought in by Rayaan. He actually had mentioned, he had furthered his claim regarding the sweatshops, and while we were wanting to have more of that, especially with the time allotted, we could only have so much into it, meaning that he did have more that we could have used, especially regarding sweatshops. It's just that we didn't have time for it, and I feel like that could have, if we had more time, we could have propelled the presentation with that.
Logan, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem your group identified?
I think by far the one that kind of really influenced my lens and my discussion was James's, because the immense amount of talk that he had on the media and other sorts of like that, it kind of influenced the way I was able to represent women because of their influence that they have on kids, their movie and film influence that they have on kids using the media and entertainment industry, and representing how much they own represents how much influence they have on kids and women as far now.
Okay, Rayaan, having finished your project, what, if anything, do you consider to be a gap in your team's research that, if addressed, would make you feel more confident about your conclusion?
I think out of the gaps in our research, I think the most important one that we kind of missed was probably definitely how the government could stop this monopoly, because there already are laws in place that prevent monopolies, and I guess for some reason Disney doesn't technically identify as a monopoly. So there probably is more research out there that does prove that they are indeed a monopoly, but we have not found that research and used that in our argument. So I would say that would be our biggest gap.
Hey, good job.